some life stories and medical histories. I don't know. I feel like if somebody drives all the way here to attend a meeting, then they can go on for.
Not a castle anymore, but they've broken it up over the years. That's where they film in Richmond. Wow. In London, Richmond, England.
Hey, good morning, everyone. This is. We'll do a quick overview of
I wasn't there, and I seen that I was in violation, and um,
He should have listed 1533, 250, and then $500.
To licensing. They have the dubious honor of calling the licensing committee.
No, we can vote. As long as the forum's here for the board, we'll vote it.
Chris Mayer.
Here.
Jeff Lloyd.
Here.
Jeff Ballard.
Here.
Dan Bannister.
Here.
Dennis Elmer. Ralph Fisher. Ron Cody.
Here.
Nick Rush. Maurice Slaughter. Don Sullivan.
Here.
Andrew Wild.
Here. Yeah, corn. Great, moving forward, for those of you who are on the list today, under tab 7, you have an opportunity to speak when your case comes up. Please.
what the contract is, and the judge is only, we can only that on the face of the warrant.
Check the box contract, so breach of contract, but we don't have anything else there.
Yeah, I just look at things like, you got a consumer, bought a truck, transmission bad, he in good faith goes to the store and says, hey, I've got a warranty. They call and say, hey, he never paid for the warranty, then the dealer's out of business. I don't know, it's like trading in a car and they don't pay off the trade. You know, that's not a contract, no, that's fraud, that's straight up fraud, you know? So anyway, that's why I wanted to ask your opinion on that, so we can all get around understanding.
And I think when these come up in the future, I mean, there's gonna be, have to make these, talking to these, there's gonna be different factors, there's gonna be different issues. And there's gonna be different, you know, decisions by judges that we just need to see. You know.
So when they come to us, William, and they say, hey, you know, this dealer didn't do what they were supposed to do. Do we tell them, hey, if you're gonna take it to court, you need to get a judgment for fraud, or you just kind of like say, hey, good luck, have a nice day, and let me know how it comes out? I'm only asking.
Well, you have to put the line on getting the legal advice, you can't tell them you gotta go to court. You can tell them not following orders, and you'll need to secure a judgment fraud or breach of dealer violation. In this case, the gentleman was, he contacted us, made a complaint, and then went to court on his own. So we were aware of it, but you can't tell them what boxes to check or how to fill stuff out. He said he had a legal friend during the hearing that he talked to, and he was revisited, and yeah, he was a little off guard because he was like, one word is gonna keep you from getting paid. But fortunately, we have to read the judgment like it is. And if it doesn't get fraud, misrepresentation or anything like that, we get the contract. There is provision 15.7.2 for the bond mentions in this contract, but it's not mentioned in 15.7. Now it's one of the things that we also discussed as to why the bond covered it. It's not that the bond. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like kind of where we were. He's always making it hard though when they go there by himself for service contract, because we have denied in the past for like gap insurance contract. So, like I said, that's one of the reasons that we get steering off. Let them go back to court if they can. Definitely had an adjustment.
I think it's an undue burden too, that's what I was gonna say, yeah.
I do think in the past, though, we've always told the people that didn't get the ruling for fraud to go back to the court and get a ruling.
But then, Jeff, if you remember when Mr. Holcomb was sitting here, there's two that came down the pike, and they're like, no, Chris, we believe these all apply, they need to get these approved, and we approved. So, yeah, I as a car dealer, you know, and I know, if you don't write that check to the warranty company, there's not much fraud involved in that. You know, you got paid, you know, he got his check from the Navy Federal Credit Union, did not pay that money, so he stole the money.
Did they ever provide a copy of the warranty contract? I didn't see it in there.
I saw the buyer's order. I saw the buyer's, to me, the buyer's order stuff, for me, I mean, it shows the consumer paid it, and wrote a check.
I know, I'm just curious if the customer ever actually decided. If there was a warranty contract provided.
Well, I would just add that I think that's the description that was in the warrant debt that we can take from this a little bit more, perhaps from other warrant debts we've seen where we have had to ask the individual to go back to court, because it just says, he's just checked the contract, and then they might write, well, I had a contract with this dealer, and you know, and he took my money, you know, or something. And so we don't, there it's like, well, that sounds like a straight up contract, breach of contract. But here we have a little bit more of a description where this individual has indicated, I think what I read as is that the fact that the dealer took the money and the contract was never entered into. So he was never given a warranty contract in the first place, because the warranty company is denying that they ever had a contract with them because they were never paid for the contract. That's what I've taken away from that reading. Well, Mike is correct. And in the past, yes, I mean, we usually would look to and say we want distinction on fraud. But we could also, you know, you can look at what is written there, and if that wasn't there, I think we'd have a bigger difficulty.
Okay. Understood. Any comments from the committee?
I mean, my only comment is one of concern, I mean, I agree with you, and I agree that there's two, like, to have like a regular consumer, which I think this fund was designed for, with just a regular Joe consumer, and then have to get into the attorney, have to do this, and you need this legal advice. I mean, you're trying to sue for $4,300. You can't afford an attorney for that. I mean, you know, so I get that part of things. The only thing I just would like to say is that I worry a little bit that we're gonna have to start deciding what's fraud and what's not fraud, and making those kind of judgment calls, which I worry a little bit that we're not the ones that are prepared to do that, because you give the example of not paying for it. I mean, you know, a dealer through just bad business practices runs out of money. This guy apparently gets shut down right after that. Was it his intent not to pay for this warranty for this guy, or did he just run into other financial issues and blah, blah, blah? Again, I don't know the legal definition of it. Is it enough that he didn't pay for it to call it fraud, or, you know, is there more to it than that? But going back to it, I mean, I'm gonna support paying it if that's what the committee says, because it seems like it fits, but I'm just worried that we're opening ourselves up for a lot of work.
Just so you know, to cool your worries, the last time when these two cases came up was years ago, okay? And it never created this big, you know, hey, we're all gonna come back and hammer the transaction recovery.
Somebody write that down.
The only thing, can I say?
Yes, absolutely.
I think your point around communicating early to them, you have to secure this kind of a judgment is the way to go. I mean, I was surprised when I read this, it looks like he said yes to the guy and then turned around a couple of days later and said, actually, no, which is even worse.
Well, we sent a letter to the dealer that, you know, you've been, a fraud case has been brought against you, and you need to pay this, and the dealer didn't respond, obviously, you know? So, I think Micah mentioned it right. You tell them, hey, here's what the code says. Boom, fraud's in there. I think it's there. I mean, could we emphasize it? I guess we could, you know, but in this case here, you're right. It's $4,200. There was no attorney. It's not a $25,000 thing. He was just trying to get his transmission. Yep. Any other discussion?
How does the guidelines read?
How do what guidelines?
What is, what are the claims?
First off, he's already said that it involves service contracts. It does, yes, sir.
And does the code actually say you have to have show fraud, prove fraud?
Yeah. It says you have to have a judgment for fraud or for a violation of the chapter. So that's where the thing comes in, for a violation of the chapter, which is why we paid you claim before, was because we had a violation of the chapter, and not paying somebody's service contract, in my eyes, is definitely a violation. Right?
Okay, is it the code 1527.3 that we're referencing?
I believe so, 1527.3, yeah.
So it just says that fraud has to have been practiced on the person or fraudulent representation made by a licensed or registered dealer of the individual. It doesn't say you have to get a court to confirm.
No, I need to write it.
Didn't read far enough.
Okay.
I think the language back and forth.
Are we looking at the bond?
Yeah, it's confusing, the wording is section 3.
Right? Yes, sir.
If I have any input, I wait till the right?
Are you on the committee?
No.
No, yeah. And you can speak during the committee. I didn't know the.
I'd like to go on.
But they asked me not.
In my youth, I stepped on toes, I don't want to do it anymore.
You might want to wait till the end.
Well,
Come out.
So we've had a couple of issues where some of the Virginia Beach independent dealers have told people to pretend they have a warranty, get a credit union, write it on the buyer's order, so they got all the money, because they didn't have enough cash. Well, that's brought up the customer.
That's thankful.
I understand what I'm.
Yeah, but then they're a conspiracy.
I understand, I'm trying to tell you that the reason I know that is we're gonna resell some of these customers and we're gonna cash in their warranty. And he said, we don't really have a warranty. We wanted to get the money from Chartway maybe federal.
And that's probably a little bit too far down the rabbit hole for me right now.
I'm saying all that because if we breach our standing in the law for a good reason, that sounds like a good reason, whatever, do we go down a bigger rabbit hole by inviting pet owner attorneys in here? That's,
As I stated, we haven't seen that in the past, you know, and we would have, like Kristen said, there's a very clear, defense that we have for if we do approve it.
we wouldn't open ourselves up for future litigation from attorneys saying you did it once and did it again, because if a dealer opens his mouth and says something about a warranty and you have an applied warranty, you are open for the rest of that car with an applied warranty. I don't know, I'm just bringing up a thought.
So your question is, will this open? I could not define whether this is going to open us up or not. Not whether, I mean, it just would. It would,
You understand what I'm saying? In other words, if I, and I've done this before, I've had someone, they came in, they had a tough deal, they were outside the warranty, and we said, well, you know, we're gonna do this and take care of you. They came back and said, their attorney said, well, you applied more warranty than you stated, now you're open to warranty the car forever.
For you doing acknowledgement of goodwill.
For doing it now.
That's why you as a dealer should do an acknowledgement of goodwill, which means you understand.
We
there's
did,
a warranty.
we did.
And they still came back after you, well, that would be my defense, I put it right up there, that I did this,
We have to,
I understand.
so, and we got, you know, we paid and we paid, so there's people, I'm just asking for the protection of this committee. That's really what I'm getting.
And as the chair of this committee, I feel, okay, my opinion, if I'm the chair, I want to give you my opinion,
Sure.
we can all vote on it, you know, that we've been very, we've been giving out very little. And now we got a person who's paid for a warranty, it's proven on the buyer's order and checked the credit union, and you can't make the claim, and I don't know what more clear.
I think
way
it's
to
really
step up, and write a check anywhere.
I think 99%, you're right on the money, you're doing the right thing. I don't know enough to say, are we opening up the door?
We operate our businesses in much lower than 99%. We're like about 85% sure. As of that 15 here, we're at 99. You know,
Yeah.
it's my opinion.
No, your intention, I think, is honorable and the right thing to do. I'm learning.
Now, I still don't recall ever doing this without a finding of fraud.
Absolutely.
And I remember people coming here and we felt bad, but we sent them back to the court to get the document changed to state fraud, and then they came back and we awarded.
That has happened in the past, but I'm telling you, on at least 2 occasions, we have approved deals that did not have fraud attached to them because they fell into that second category or if they had committed intended fraud.
You know the name?
I don't know the name, but I remember Christian talking about it. You know, just
Recall it?
Yeah.
Okay. How difficult is it to send this person back to get the warning that changed to fraud?
He's a Maryland resident. He's gonna have to take time off of work to go to a Virginia court.
well, from a personal standpoint, I don't know what the difficulty was. From a procedural standpoint, you go back to the court. Now, the order's probably, there may be, I can't state what the legal consequences would be, but he can request the court to reopen the matter perhaps and ask for approving of judgment for fraud.
Because I really believe that's what we've done in the past. I don't recall the last 2 that you told me about.
I'm not making.
Not that I'm being, saying them, you know what?
Yeah, I'm not making it up. I've dealt with it. And, you know, I'll do whatever the committee wants to do.
way it's written, it doesn't have to be fraud.
No,
No, it does.
it don't.
It does.
It does, I mean, the statute clearly says that you need a judgment from a court of competent jurisdiction in the Virginia for fraud, and then it explains what the basis of the fraud could be. And then also too, or a violation of the chapter. So if there was.
Or part.
Yeah. Does that fall under this, Christian, or in violation of the chapter?
I don't think so, because I don't think we have a statute that pinpoints as to what it was violated for, or it's unknown to us what that might be. It's not clear. I mean, because we weren't at the court. That's the problem always in this case is when we have an order, when there's maybe an attorney involved and stuff, and there's a order that specifically, and the judge signs and says exactly what they're finding, it's very clear cut. In this case, and other cases that we've had, which I would agree, they don't come up every meeting, but that we have had them where it is a question as to whether we can determine the fraud or not, because we are not, the board is not the trier of fact in these cases. The court is, and we've gone through that, and there's case law on that, we can't go behind the judgment. The judgment is the judgment. So if we didn't like the amount of the judgment and it doesn't clearly say what the amount was decided for, we're stuck with the judgment amount perhaps. It just depends, there's case law on that. So the here is we have, the board needs to base their decision on what the judgment is from the court, not from perhaps what are the things we want to look at as a board to determine whether it needs to look at. So the only thing we have here on the judgment is the face of the warning document. I hope that's clear. I mean, like,
I'm just sorry, I was just gonna ask a quick question. If there was a bond in place, a $50,000 bond in place, and was to file a claim against that bond, would the insurance company pay the claim without the fraud conviction of fraud box check?
It would, if you look at the point of the contract. Bond,
Refer it back to the dealer's bond, or is there a bond in place at all?
Good question.
I mean, there's a reason that we have a transaction recovery fund committee, you know, so we can think on our feet and make decisions. I'm not afraid to make the decision on my end to move forward, but I want to hear from the committee and anybody else who wants to speak right now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a comment. I'll tell you why I don't like this. I would be much more comfortable if we went back even to Tom's comment. I never saw a warranty contract. I saw a number put on a buyer's order that has no justification that was actually set aside for a warranty. And every warranty has a contract. And if there was a warranty contract, and I didn't look at all the detail, and maybe it's in there, I would feel a little bit better about being in the gray area, but I don't even have a contract for a warranty in the
What
paperwork.
customer's gonna pay $4,300 for a warranty and not have it?
So what did he buy? 100,000 miles, 5 miles? I mean, there's no paperwork for the contract. That's my biggest concern with this whole deal. I hear all the other discussions about fraud but I would have at least liked for him to produce the contract he signed justifying the 4,300 for the warranty. That's my biggest concern. I know I'm talking on both sides of this thing, but I go back to the intent of the statute and a little bit like a layman's point of view. You got a average Joe who buys this car and then this happens to him. And then there's all these hoops that they have to jump through to get it. I mean, I guess that's a bigger issue that the legislature should have to fix that. If that's the case. They should make it clear, give us the power to advise them properly on what it needs to say or something like that, but
Oh, they need to copy the contract.
well, I mean, it's easy enough to say, but you got a guy, you got a customer from Maryland.
Yeah, he paid for it. The Navy Federal Credit Union paid for it shortly after purchasing the truck. He felt the transmission issue. We're not talking about 9 months later. Shortly after, he went to the shop. Yeah, I've got a service contract. They called DKP. So they had to have a service contract or something to call at that point. It wasn't just on the buyers. So he produced it. DKP said, "Hey, we'd love to help you, but the guy never paid." Things there is no service contract.
Yeah, I mean,
He followed through the dealership and they were out of business. 1 month after, was closed 1 month after his purchase.
DKP didn't say they didn't sell the service contract. DKP said they didn't pay for the service contract, so DKP was notified, and that's how it works. I mean, you gotta go and sell a car, you just put it in the portal and say, hey, we sold the service contract, and then the dealer never paid. But every customer should get a copy of that case before.
I'm kind of like Andrew here. I'm thinking we've got a consumer that's been hurt, it's $4,200, and we're gonna small print them to death so we don't get paid. It's frustrating.
So Kurt, may I ask, is there a miscellaneous fund where we don't have to go out of any question of a legal bound to help a customer?
We got 1.3 million or 5 million in the thing that
No,
we're here
you understand, I'm just
to.
saying legally, is there a fund we can draw, no, can we create one for this type of thing? No, it's a good question, Chris got a good question.
Let's go to the vote.
Well, I mean,
Yes, sir, go ahead, Jeff.
if you make him go back to court, let's say you decide you want to go back to court if it's done as fraud. Can we leave this claim open, or we vote to close it, and yes, to be open?
We send people back
You know,
before.
you can
and
say-
kept it open.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
table, table.
Yeah, so they table it.
Yeah.
Tell him he has to give a fraud verdict. From the court.
Hey, I'm okay with whatever the committee wants to do. There's a guy who bought a truck sitting in his driveway, can't use the truck to paint on things. That's frustrating.
I understand that, but still, you don't wanna open up the fund to this frivolous thing, well, now you don't have to prove fraud.
As the transmission, I'm sorry, as the transaction recovery fund chairman, I was telling you, and everybody, it was all like, God, you know, but they should know this falls under that second part of slate. And it's a service contract, it's on the buyer.
Not a service contract because it's on the buyer. It's a service contract when he has paperwork for a service contract.
He paid for it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think we should table this because we don't want to get involved in determining what is fraud in the committee. The law is very clear. Table it, send the guy back to the courthouse, tell him what he needs to do. And bring us the proper paperwork and we'll pay it.
We allow to tell him, I mean, I know we're doing that. in that,
I think we ought to vote on it.
But we can't direct him to, we can just. I mean, do we just tell him that we can't accept it without a judgment for fraud? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, and we've done that before, where we could table, it's been tabled and council is gonna have to do it for the individual. Yeah,
I'll make a motion. But there'll be more discussion about it. Make a motion to table it. And let them go, tell them to go back in front of the courts and get the judgment, much like you have decided on the board.
Question, I'm sorry, I'm jumping back. If we did that, is it legitimate for us to cover any of these costs? Because again, I think this is, we're talking about a couple months, in the backlog of the court, probably a couple of dollars, if not more. To do all of it. So do we cover any, if we're saying, hey, to cover us, go back and get this one word, I'm just talking as an average citizen, I'll get this one word changed. Go spend the next 3 months with a lawyer and a judge to go get this one word changed on your document, come back to us. Are we gonna do anything to compensate him for that time and effort and energy, and are we allowed to do that? But it covers us, it avoids the misunderstanding, but we're actually putting a burden back on him, which is,
I mean, there's nothing in the fund that. I mean, that's his, that's his, yeah, that's the individual responsibility to get that, I mean. We didn't have counsel, I mean, there are clauses in the, under the fund that where you can request attorney's fees, you know, if the court awards attorney's fees. So, I mean, you don't have that in this situation, but those are costs that are awarded, you know, back to individuals, and we have a lot of cases that counsel are involved. So, but there's nothing that would, I think it's personal cost of having to go to court this time.
Good question.
yeah, I just, it bothers me because it feels like the intent of the fund is to safeguard the consumer and make sure that the reputation of the overall industry is maintained in the eyes of the public by making sure that we don't just send them off to fend for themselves against dealers who go out of business and things like that. I feel like the action we're taking, well, I understand we're trying to protect ourselves from opening the floodgates on all these cases. It didn't happen in the past, and we're taking action to protect ourselves at the expense of the individual.
Can we not get a copy of the two people he's talking about somehow? That we did it without a felony,
That would be, what was the precedent set out?
right? Is that available to get, William?
I don't recall the case in particular. I have seen it. I remember this young lady who came in here. We couldn't get loose on that. She went back and forth and everything for it. Right, that's what we've asked to do with everybody.
We have a motion on the table from Dan Bannister. Second by Don Sullivan. Go to vote. All in favor of the motion?
So the motion is to table this?
Correct. And to send the customer back to the court to get a judgment fraud.
Or produce a warrant, right? I don't know.
I've got a bad taste about this, but I'm gonna, in my own business, excuse me when I say this, my own business, I teach my people that don't find printed customers, take care of the customer. Then that solves a lot of problems, keeps all the lawyers away, everything else, or find printed customer, that's kind of frustrating.
Well, this is the way that it's been written, it's the way that we've done, we've had precedents, I don't remember if we called, given to somebody to do the fraud. We've had a lot of discussion on that.
Christian just gave us an out when you said the second part includes service contract.
And Ann said it's not.
I have a motion, I have a second, yeah.
I'm not sure I said the second part. It's just a violation of code. So,
Right.
I mean, but there was no finding by the court of that. That's, I mean, we have to remember that it's not by us finding it. It's the court finding that he brought it.
Okay, so we have a motion seconded by Sullivan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, is there any new business moving forward? Hearing none, our next scheduled meeting will be November 13th, right here in this room at, our next transaction recovery fund committee, and that being said, we adjourn. Yeah, we can take a 15-minute recess and then going back.
Bob Bates,
Here.
Michael Ward, Gordon Britt, Justin Foley,
Here.
Richard Miller, Rob Fisher, Mark Cody,
Here.
David Mann, Chris Mayer,
Here.
Jeff Lloyd,
Here.
Andrew Robinson,
Here.
Nick Rush, Maurice Slaughter, Don Sullivan,
Here.
Andrew Wiley,
Here.
Joe Lapp.
Here.
Yes, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Alice. Before we get started with the business of the day, I ask for a few moments of silence in recognition of 9/11, those who lost their lives on that day. If there are no objections or questions, the July 2023 meeting summary will be approved. No objections, and we'll approve the meeting summary. So all of those who are on the agenda, each who spoke this morning, will have an opportunity to speak when your item comes up. Are there any other public comments at this point? Okay, forward. All right, we're now going to move into the statutory committee reports. Each committee chair will go through their actions Let's start with dealer practices, Bronco.
Commissioner, Dealer Practices Committee, met earlier today, a quorum was present. We approved the summary from the last meeting, and we have 3 resolutions for consideration by the full board. And Wayne, would you please read the first resolution?
Barbarian Auto Sales and Mohammed Studa. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence and report of the informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Barbarian Auto Sales and Mohammed Studa for alleged violation of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1533 and 46.2-1575, number 2. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes the following actions should be taken against Barbarian Auto Sales and Mohammed Studa. 1, assess a civil penalty of $750. 2, Barbarian Auto Sales shall be inspected by motor vehicle dealer board field representative, and inspection shall be satisfactory. Now therefore be resolved that the board mandates that Mohammed Studa hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $750. And Barbarian Auto Sales dealership shall be satisfactory passed and inspection conducted by motor vehicle dealer board field representative on or before December the 11th, 2023. Therefore, be it further resolved by the board that failure to comply with the board's mandate of the required date result in suspension of all licenses. Such time as Barbarian Auto Sales
And then, for the policy, Chairman Tynes, Step Ballard, the second. Does anyone have any discussions they'd like to put forward since there is no one to speak on this? When comes class? When is the class? Tomorrow in Lynchburg. Give it all the way to February. Okay. That would be my now.
It started, we'll give them, it's starting 6 months, I'll figure it out. Not all the classes are close to the dealership, gives them a chance to class.
We have them all over the state of Virginia, so sometimes it's convenient to them
wait till it comes to their town. We give them 6 months, but, you know, sometimes we don't, do we always give them 6 months, man? Unless you're talking about one. I mean, we put it down to 90 days sometimes. But I think 6 months is reasonable, most don't want to get it out of the way pretty quick. None of them complain after going through the class, but I'm like, I'm glad I came.
The part of it does raise a question in my mind, is do we do the inspection after he takes the class, or? Because an inspection could occur before he takes the class, and he could get another violation before taking the class to learn about all the stuff he's supposed to know. Cart and the horse is what I'm thinking, like you go to class and we learn it, and then we'll inspect you. It makes sense. How dare you think about this? I don't want to upset the apple cart. Any other questions for you? Anyone else? Put it to a vote. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? All right, thank you.
Tab 3, East Side Drive.
ESR Auto and Kevin Johnson. Whereas based on the evidence and report and formal fact finding conference is prepared by a hearing officer, motor vehicle dealer board assessing $750 civil penalty against Kevin Johnson and requires satisfactory inspection of the ESR Auto dealership. And whereas Kevin Johnson appealed the board's decision and requested a formal hearing and conducted on August 10th, 2023. And whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence and report the formal hearing as prepared by the hearing officer concerning ESR Auto Kevin Johnson for alleged violation, Union Code Section 46.2-1533 and 46.2-1575 Whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following action should be taken against ESR Auto and Kevin Johnson. 1. Assess a civil penalty of $750. 2. ESR Auto should have satisfactory inspection conducted by a motor vehicle dealer board field representative within 30 days. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Kevin Johnson hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $750 and the ESR Auto dealership should satisfactory pass inspection conducted by a motor vehicle dealer board field representative all before the vote 11, 2023.
Is your committee's motion?
It is, and Mr. Johnson was in attendance.
Mr. Johnson, would you like to speak at all or see any condition? Yeah. You want to take the vote if you don't mind?
As I said before, I didn't get a warning from the first inspection. I am the only person that runs the dealership. As Jeff said, it is a lot of information to remember. You know, most of the time I'm just out in the field getting the work done. I'm a very truthful person. I let them know that I let y'all know that I wasn't there. So, I mean, I've sensed that y'all get both these claims a lot. And it just hit people with $750. But I mean, I just feel like it's like a very harsh fine. If I'm saying I didn't get the warning the first time, and I have 2 emails, and I never got it. So that's all I want to say.
Appreciate it. I've got a question for you, Mr. Johnson. On your application under H, it says, excuse me, all salespersons employed at the dealership are issued a W-2 and not independent contractors issued a 1099. You check the box, no. Do you pay yourself on W-2?
No, I don't pay myself.
You don't pay yourself at all?
Not on a W-2.
And the application wasn't, that was the only thing that I noticed that were out of line there, on that. You might want to consider paying yourself on the W-2. All salespeople have to pay on W-2.
Okay. I mean, at the end of the year, I just file my taxes. But I don't pay my, I don't have a,
What do you, bookkeeper?
I'm a bookkeeper, but I'm not through a payroll service. I just pay myself.
QuickBooks Pro will do it for you, or you need the payroll service, you can pay yourself, W-2. Okay. So, right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Vote then, but I second this. I didn't remember. I did a motion to table, I did get a second. I have a second.
Second.
All right, recognize Thompson. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. All right. We're now going to move to the licensing committee, which we did not get to discuss, due to a lack of quorum. We will do it in the board session now. Commissioner, the licensing committee met earlier today. As you mentioned, we did not have a quorum present, so we did not approve any summaries or have any resolutions to the board. We will have to address those under the full board. I'll go ahead and read the first one. The licensing committee, tab 4, Phoenix Auto Sales, Matthew Marscheider. Tab 4, William, if you read it.
On June 26, 2023, a formal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violation of Gene Code Section 46.2-1575, number 1, and 46.2-1575, number 13. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing also recommended assessing civil penalty of $500 for violation of Gene Code Section 46.2-1575, number 1.
Is Mr. Marscheider here? So let's open the floor for discussion.
So reading through this, Mr. Chairman, he had applied and had checked he was a convicted felon at one time, twice, and then came down and didn't check the box. Is he assuming we had it on file based on the statement there?
I don't know what his assumptions were, but I gotta say, I noticed something affecting twice. It was once in an application, another time he was moving location or something where he had correctly answered the question, and then this one time he did. I don't know if he missed it or he assumed it, but I noticed.
The reason the fine, it looks like from the narrative, was that he never answered the question to the hearing officer. I mean, he didn't attend the informal hearing. The hearing officer said, like, clearly he's in violation and he didn't show up. So that's why they recommended the fine, and he didn't show up either. So this is second opportunity he's had to explain himself. Like, I mean, clearly my salespeople fill out, these things and check boxes really quickly, and I could see somebody making a mistake, and I think if he'd shown up and said, hey, oops, I missed it, he would have had the opportunity not to get a fine, but he didn't even respond.
He's licensed through us now, right, Wayne?
Yeah. Yes. But he's still in business? Yes, this is just a sales thing.
Yeah, but he's kind of a maybe that's a different.
It's a different case.
I mean, I think he hasn't shown up to defend himself. I also felt like he was a little bit of a gotcha. He basically had it on. I'm not sure why we keep asking the certain question. If he filled it out twice with the question that says you're a convicted felon, why every time he does something we make him write it down again? You feel like that might be a new choice.
Yeah,
Status can change.
again, he's given the opportunity to respond.
Yeah, right. He's been given plenty of opportunity to come discuss it in front of the hearing officer. I think that he's felt like since he incorrectly answered it, there would be a civil penalty. I think the hearing officer said it at least 250 when he recommended $500.
I think we ought to reduce it to 250 and move on.
I think that 250.
We can vote about that.
Is someone put motion forward to 250?
We need to have a motion.
Yeah.
We didn't have one come out.
Have to have a motion, then second.
We can do that right now.
Yeah. So Chris, do you want to put a motion?
I'll make a motion that we reduce the fine to 250 and he's learned his lesson, that we put that on this paperwork going out. Second.
All right, second.
Yes, does he have his paperwork all online now and he's not a felon, or he is a felon?
We've already got it. We've got his record on file.
Was he a
like the chairman said, it's kind of like, it's on file. We had it, and obviously you made a mistake not to check by all the intent that they're trying to fool us, because we already had all the information.
It'd be different if he like from day one, from get-go, he was lying, but you filled out the application with it, he was approved, and then he moved locations, and filled it out again, and now for the second time he moved locations, and he didn't check the box. I think 250 is fair, because, hey, you need to take this seriously, you need to show up, you need to defend yourself, right, if this happened, explain the mistake, so maybe the 250 will get a defense.
We got a first and a second?
All right, let's put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Then, who seconded it? Trevor Collins. Cole.
Tab 5, Casey Schneider, William tab 5.
Casey Strohsnyder, BK Motors LLC. On July 17, 2023, the formal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 9, number 8, number 9, and 13. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended revocation of all actions. That's good, thank you.
Recommended revocation of all. Okay. Is that the recommendation of the committee?
So we didn't need, so that's the resolution on the hearing officer's recommendation. And we want to know, is there anybody in attendance to speak for it? Okay.
Hi, I'm Casey Strohsnyder. If you all obviously take a look at me, a lot of mistakes. Poor business decisions, excuse me, sorry. Have been in selling cars in Winchester for 30 years. 30 years of this half man. Just, got involved with, got behind the 8 ball in a big way, and couldn't keep up with my obligations, and then it just kind of, I tried, I had bad checks to the gentleman that basically provided me with cars, and I paid that down from 230,000 to 115 to this down, paying it back now through restitution. My husband and I have a small dealership, just basically the 2 of us, and my mom helps out, and then helps out. We, this is 5 families. I know that the recommendation is to take my license away, but this is my family's livelihood. Sorry. And I just like, I having had the, everything has been clear. I've gone through lots of, different therapy, and like I say, just had too much on me, and just got way behind me all with this thing, and I'm trying to do the right thing. Are there any questions? I guess questions for me?
Ms. Strohsnyder.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff here. And one thing about the car business is, we've all got stuff in our past that we're not proud of, things that happen, mistakes, things, but you got 14 felonies. Pretty heavy.
Well, I mean, it is. It's basically just
Same person, 14 checks? No, what?
same person. Yeah, with
The
the
wholesaler you're
check.
buying cars from?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the other was just one. Apparently, which I wasn't. There was the other one was a vehicle that was traded in. When I went back through, I just wasn't there a whole lot. 2000, I was there, but I wasn't there. Our youngest son was diagnosed with autism. Throughout that time period, we were back and forth. I did not handle things correct. I let employees handle things that shouldn't have been. I just let a lot of things go that the buck stopped here, and here I am. And like I say, just like with the, it was the bad check all to one person, and then the other one was just them from one car. The other 4 charges them from, or 3 or 4, whatever that's them from one vehicle being traded, traded in, not get paid off. I tried to pay it off and then couldn't, I'm sorry, I did pay it down from, I think it was almost $7,000 to I think 3,400, and then, tried to, even after it came to charges and stuff, even went to the young lady, tried to, we had a relationship where we would text, she was a customer for a long time, and I just wasn't aware that this had happened. And, got to her, and we would text back and forth, and once I told her, I tried to make it right, and then, she basically, I even have the text message on my phone, she said that if she dropped the charges, that I would pay her the 3,400 or 3,700 or whatever it was, plus $2,000. And I told her, I said, well, I can't do that. I can give you the money that it's, and then she said she was gonna go forward with that. And I mean, I was, even went to where I even texted her and went to her work to try to make this right, or to the parking lot, to try to make this stuff.
Are you all with her now?
Well, it ended up being, it went with my other charges, that, it's so it
Your
ended up,
restitution being paid.
Right.
And you're still on track for the restitution?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
When's that due to be finished up?
Well, I mean, we've got, we revisited in 3 years, it's a big nut, but we're just, trying to do whatever, I'm doing it every month.
How many license sales did you have for sure?
I have, myself, my husband, and my mother.
I have a question. Is it Dillinger, Casey, and BK,
As far as what's done,
as far as what's being taken away, or is it just Casey?
it would just be, I think, myself.
So Dillinger is owned by your dad?
No, with Dellinger Motor Company, was on something like that, yeah.
But he's gone.
Yeah.
So who owns it now?
BK Motors, on my husband,
Oh, okay, so it is BK.
yeah.
And here's the thing,
I'm the operator, yes, sir.
so if you revoke her license, you revoke the dealer license, you would have to get it out of the dealer license. Correct? I'm sorry, I looked at you.
So that's okay. I mean, are we referring to William, or referring to her dealer's license and her sales license?
To be a dual operator, not self-license. Right, you don't have self-license. You have to do it.
So we're revoking the dealer's license and any sales licenses that are associated with her. So
And her husband. Yeah.
any reason your husband could get a dealer's license and apply?
Well, he could, but I'm the one that deals with the people. I mean, I'm the one that, our family couldn't go forward if it wasn't, I'm not speaking very well right now, but usually I speak much better and can deal with people a lot better. You have the personality that takes the self ours.
Do you have any ongoing litigation right now? Sorry, go ahead.
Are you personally coming back to money or the public?
Well, we're basically one and the same, because that's where all of their money.
What check is it with the public?
Well, yeah, because I mean, that's where our money comes from.
Do you have any current ongoing litigation with anybody at all?
Anybody else?
Anybody at all? Period.
No, no,
No ongoing, you're fine at your probation or either thing.
absolutely,
And the restitution is part of your probation.
right,
You don't make restitution. You pick up,
right.
And she's current on her restitution.
And this,
We take away her license, we take away her ability to make whole.
that was in here where she's trying on the restitution.
Take it out, we take down.
Why don't you pay that? $115.
Restitution paid in full.
It's 30 now, not 3 years.
Pretty darn quick, yeah.
I mean, maybe it's me, but it's not a 6 month out.
So she's on a tight rope as we speak right now. When we take her license, we take away her ability to fish, take away her ability to make whole the person that she cheated. She has no ongoing litigation right now that she claims. We gotta think about it. Her whole life has probably been the carpet. That's all she knows.
But there are other options. There are always options.
There is.
And the option is to hurt themselves. And business.
I mean, the only issue there is she's the one who's making it happen. Her husband may just be the guy sitting there in the corner saying, I don't know.
She would still be allowed to work there, she just can't sell cars.
Well, can't do custom paper without having a sales license.
I mean, she can't do F&I and can't do
That's
F&I.
Can't
But
close deals.
she could have an administrative role.
But you can't, I mean,
Can they agree? I asked them, why you, 14 times that you,
well, with the 11 check,
okay,
and then the other one was on the vehicle.
just say on the 11th, my own, so why did you not pay for it?
Well, it wasn't that I didn't want to, I just had a succession, I had an old, just a series of, the car business not being what it used to be, and, I don't know how it is. We're having a real hard time in Manchester finding cars, getting cars. Well, I guess maybe it used to be a lot easier, that's what it is now, and then,
But why did you keep getting more than pay for the one that you paid for already? And really, why did you keep letting you have more? And then why did you try, is the
Oh,
apartment yours?
they were, yeah, we've known each other, I've known they're older than me, so they,
So why wasn't there some kind of agreement that if you knew you were having a tough time to try to parse this out a little bit? It just seems a little.
basically what happened was it just all kind of came to it.
You read 11 checks, I'm sorry. You read 11 checks at one time.
No, it was over the course of
Years.
I think it was maybe 6 months. It was way more, I mean, we did probably millions of dollars of business with each other, just became like that.
I mean, is there something we don't know other than over 6 months? You've got a car, paid for it with a bad check, then you've got another car, it's just, something seems to be missing.
Well,
Not very basic, but it's.
well, no, it's not, we just, we were working it out until we weren't anymore, basically, so they just quit, and then they decided to, or the people I was doing business with, the people that I were, they got to get checks, it was all, everything was okay until
They didn't get that money.
they did, well, no, they knew what was going on, it wasn't like it was, they were unaware, just all of a sudden, they just stopped, they went to the police, and it paralyzed, obviously, I mean, I did it, it was my fault. But it just, where I got to that point, like, it was, I mean, I tried,
Did you sell any of those cars to make profit? They were all bad cars.
no, some of them were not great, some of them.
These cars, today, the brokers on these cars are phenomenal.
So sometimes, yeah, I mean, I don't,
I know, but you have.
I mean, to me, the little guy, and I don't know, I'm not sure.
One of those little guys too.
Well, I don't care about that. But I mean,
She's got a little gas station.
yeah,
She's got a little gas station outside of it.
I have 5 of them.
We're from more in Winchester, where it was. Cars, they wouldn't keep them over 60,000 miles. Now the new car dealerships are keeping all those cars. That's where primarily where all of our inventory came from, was new car dealers, and they decided. Because the deal is a little bit funny. Well, it was, and then then I would, no, it would, I would, some of these, and then I would, would pay it. But it would be, had, just more going out, way more going out than what I had coming in. It was just 11 different cars. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, we had it working, but I mean, then, I was working them off as we were going along. We just quit. I mean, if nobody was telling them, and then it didn't happen in the most, we live in a small town. I was, and it was, I didn't believe me. I've been put through the ringer. Yes, sir. Probably we were selling, retailing and wholesaling a lot of cars. Probably between 30, probably close to, it could run between 30 and 50 a month. Probably 10, yeah, but it's everything's on a much smaller scale. Well, I mean, things are completely, different now, restructured, and we're much smaller. I had employees, and I let employees handle things, which is the reason I'm kind of here, but but they're really kind of have it figured out now. That's kind of where maybe I don't know. We kind of have the whole thing figured out. It's been since it'll be, and it's been 3.5 years since we stopped doing business with each other. We took everything to the police, which is, I was wrong. Yes, sir.
How much on the case do you have to pay this gentleman?
It's kind of open-ended.
How much are you paying them now, and how much you been paying?
We've, to be quite honest, I mean, it's set at a low amount now, but it's $200 a month, and but it would be, forever at that. Yeah, that would be forever, and and so
Is it growing or is it flat?
it's flat.
How much are you paying? No, that's the requirement. How much are you paying? It almost half.
We paid almost half, and then the past couple months, I haven't paid very, I've just been working on this, and, really.
How much you think? $100?
Well, I paid that, I probably paid 200, 300, something, just to kind of get me through to, to keep on the movement.
Into Chris' question, that's based on $5,000 and $10,000 a month.
Well, before, yeah, it was, up until, the ruling, until there was.
But RJ's question, they kind of have it kind of figured out now. So kind of pay more than $200 a month going forward.
Yeah.
So that if your license is down, you can give us an idea of what to pay the time and you're not going to get it.
Really, my thoughts are around $1,500 a month.
Selling how many cars, wholesaling how many roughly going forward.
That's, probably selling, even selling, to do that with, because our,
How many?
10, 15 cars a month, I can do that. Because
No problem.
they'll probably find, overhead's very low right now.
Good, you're welcome.
We are, exactly.
So if you want your life, it's probably go out to.
Yeah.
And lose her money to pay, put her in a whole other situation.
But, your husband couldn't sell any cars for.
Probably not without, no. He's got a good personality, he just doesn't have the personality in it.
If you have another job,
He does do some mechanical work, you know,
they don't have a full-time job.
he's, I mean, he works, he's got a salesman's license, he just doesn't, he can't sell what I can sell.
So we fix it.
Yes, sir. We just need one.
Any other things you'd like to say, and I think we'd like maybe.
No,
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
thank you.
You don't want to make a motion on either upholding the original recommendation of the hearing officer or an alternative arrangement.
That's question. What was the unlawfully obtained document?
It was a long title.
How did you unlawfully?
Yeah.
That forgery?
Yeah, all the things, all those are the things, all come from this.
For what reason? Was it something like someone died and the relative person is okay, or something happened wrong over before?
No. To be quite honest, the bank. Well, son actually, we have the thing, the vehicle was trading in, and the payoff was used the same bank to finance the new car and pay. Before anyone, or, you know, before I knew different than anyone else, they just put the full amount. Deposited the full amount in my account. And then I didn't even know this until probably a year later.
So I think we're in a situation where I don't know how folks have feelings about this. I think we should uphold the recommendation. It's from either place to operate. Probably sounds like it's gonna put a business on her. Unless her husband steps up to the part. I don't know the difference, but I do. It does feel to me like there's like a sales type personality and a not sales type personality. Or we can find an alternative that somehow exact an appropriate consequence for this. That's the current, but allow it to stay in business. Unless you're paying $200 a month, it's gonna get, you're paying more than that forever. So I don't know if folks have an opinion on an alternative.
Did we hear from the hearing officer?
No. Is that person present?
No, it will not be.
Pardon me?
Hearing officer will not be present, you have to choose from the hearing officer, based off of what.
No, Fred, but if they had any opinion, I would just be curious, this is a little odd.
Make a motion.
I move that we take the hearing officer for.
Give a recommendation to the hearing officer's suggestion to remove, it's the dealer and the sales license. And is there a second for that motion? Literally make something.
I'll second that motion.
Now you've got me into a Robert's rule board that I don't know. Do we vote yet? Vote on it. All right, so all in favor of it. I'm sorry, what? Okay, so we first vote. So all of those in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. Nay. Correct. Nay. There's 3 nays, so we want to, there's 4 nays, so we want to make an amendment. No, that's carried. Oh, carried.
Go ahead and ask for a roll call.
Do a roll call vote, yeah. Let's do a roll call vote. I heard about that. So that's where everybody says their vote, right?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll do.
We're good.
Nick Miller?
Yes.
Dan Bannister?
Yes.
Tom Bates?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call the one. Gordon Britt?
Yeah.
Phil Collen?
Nay.
Ron Cody?
Yes.
Mayor?
Nay.
Jeff Malloy?
Yes.
Rodney Robinson?
Nay.
Ron Sullivan?
No.
Riley,
Yes.
Gerald Lane.
Nay.
Council account.
Seven yeas. Five no.
All right, so the motion passes. I will,
And I just asked if I changed my vote from yes to some kind of accommodation I would like to hear, or does that happen automatically afterwards?
Does not happen. The motion carries and it's voted on and it's ready.
You're saying you can't change his vote?
No, no, you don't change your vote. She can always go back and appeal. She can make a formal appeal.
Okay, that's what I was, that's where it's going. Okay.
Yeah.
yes, that's what we're gonna figure. Make an appeal or take it to the next step. For the moment, the motion passes, move the license.
Does that happen?
Not until after the appeal.
Right. Which starts out, I will send you a letter here in the next couple of days. You get the letter, I will back, go ahead and make sure you meet the deadlines for every letter. But it's, you have up to appeal, as long as you appeal, the license will remain intact.
All right, and if I could make one additional suggestion, that if you do appeal and do come back, have a plan to move forward where you're not the dealer operator.
Oh,
Have two different plans,
right, so,
okay? Because the issue we're faced here is this is such a grievous, our number one concern here is protecting the consumers, not protecting dealers. And these are such grievous things that have come down. Try to figure out a way that this business goes on with some other role you're in as one of your options. Okay? And I know this hurts, but a lot of people have been hurt because of this. Hey, good luck, Juan. Good luck.
Thank you, Ron. To move to tab 6, Richard Rue.
Tab 6, Richard Roof, William, can you read it?
On August 7th, 2023. And a formal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violation of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1575, number 13. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing also recommended denial based on the criminal background report and the lack of appeal information from each of you.
All right, Mr. Roof, would you like to step up? Thank you for coming down here today. Or just tell us a little bit about the situation.
Well, it all takes place from about 19 to 25 years old. Lots of substance abuse, just poor decisions. I mean, I don't really have an excuse for it. You know, we discussed the background. It's all 12 plus years old. Things are a lot different now. I got a family, I run my own business on the side. Work in the world. You know, I've been out of trouble and straight and narrow for a very long time. I'm happy to answer any questions. I mean, I don't want to sit here and make excuses for my past, you know, because.
So Joseph Hoyleman, your direct manager at Photo World?
Yes, sir. He's the general manager and part owner.
How long have you worked there?
2.5 months now.
Is he fairly new here with the reference then?
I've known him in other capacities. I've known him for about 3 years.
Open it up for questions. It appeared in the write-up by the hearing officer that you were going to provide additional information.
Yeah, I typed it up, and when I sent it, I didn't realize it at the time until after I'd gotten the notice for the recommendation to come here. It was just an explanation on the background, which is pretty much what I just told you. I mean, there's substance abuse, you know, broken home, you know, just really struggling to find myself throughout my late teens and early 20s, and then I had kids and everything kind of changed.
Are you still on any kind of probation?
No, I've been free and clear for a very long time. Yes, sir.
There's no other pending convictions?
Nothing at all. Not a single mark on the record at all for over 12 years.
No driving infractions, nothing?
Nothing.
Clean as a whistle?
Yes, sir.
12 years clean?
Yes, sir.
Did Mr. Bowman hire you knowing you're gone?
Yes, sir, he did.
You know, one time having more than one,
Yes, sir.
I could be reading this wrong, but I was reading that January of 2020, your license was suspended in Florida for failing to pay a traffic fine.
It was for, an insurance lapse that got taken care of. It's valid. It was an insurance lapse that when I switched insurance companies, I didn't notify the DMV.
In Florida, your license had.
Yeah. Momentarily. Correct. Well, actually, I just went to court and they cleared it because I showed them that I was insured. They just didn't have on record the change of insurance company.
You have a junior license?
I do not yet.
You have a Florida.
Yes, sir.
What's your job now?
Service advisor.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived in Virginia?
I've been off and on. I've been up here now steady for about 4 months, but I've been going back and forth to Florida. So I've got kids and family down there and I've been having family issues, so I go back and forth.
From a DMV perspective. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pretend I didn't hear that.
All right. I can get that switched over.
Um,
Way back when? Yeah. That was an excellent one.
So in the past, we have granted folks the ability to sell cars with the understanding that, we would get immediate notification if they left the dealership, that the sales license goes somewhere from
for one of the DMs. It sounds like the DM here is willing to stand up for this guy. I mean, let's face it, we got some rough folks. Some of my best salespeople, they've been there, they've done their time, they're out, and they're hustlers, It's been 12 years since he was sowing his oats as a kid, running around doing crazy stuff, and I personally think that we should grant him a license to sell and maybe along with the ability to keep on a short leash. I've employed a number of folks that I've picked up for the fraud and rehabilitated them. They're great today. They're doing great things. My recommendation anyway.
I've got one who's just turned 1, and then it's my son up here, and then I've got 2 daughters and 4 that are 11.
Is it possible to do that kind of a conditional sort of, we approve the license with a contingent stamp, Motor World for plan B?
Like he's saying, they've had to, let us know the reason. What they move forward, back up.
And there's no infraction, or something like that.
But it's just a short leash. Basically, he's required to let us know if he leaves the dealership, and before he goes somewhere else, he's required to let them know, hey, you're taking this on. And which he's done obviously already.
Or if he does something at the dealership, but it doesn't leave, let us know. Shortly, I agree with your
And
idea.
Adam and the group of Motor World's gonna let us know. pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, I mean, Chris will say I never agree with that, but in this case, I agree with him 100%. Yeah, no, I mean, one, I know Adam and I know this dealer and, it's 12 years ago, he's got, the GM writing a letter stating, hey, I understand the issues that he's been down, still want him, recommending that he's coming here. The dealership.
You guys know me.
Yeah, the dealership.
And if he got out of line, he would know me.
I can call Adam when they direct to Adam. If he gets loose at all, you can call me right away.
Adam will tell you too. I think that's right.
Yeah, so I don't know how you would phrase the motion. I mean, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve his license. Okay, so I make a motion that we approve his license.
You can have the secretary.
No, you can.
I will. Absolutely.
All right, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Don't
you
let
so
us
much.
down, please.
I definitely will not. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure, as the, salesperson license group, will meet then on November.
Thank you. Moving to the advertising.
So, Mr. Chairman, we had a meeting, this morning, we had a quorum. We approved the meeting summary from July. There was no old business, there was no old business from the floor, no new business, there's no new business from the floor. We scheduled our meeting for November 2023.
Thank you very much for that report. Last committee, transaction recovery fund.
I'm not gonna be that smooth with the commissioner. We had a quorum this morning. We met. There was no public comment at the time. We did approve the July 10th, meeting summary. There was no old business from before, and there was new business. We had one motion, under tab number 7. Wait, including.
Okay, this was, Kenneth Jackson versus DMV Auto Finance LLC and Zulo, Devontal.
Can't help you with that.
I'm okay, thank you. And this was taken, recommended to take. Whereas pursuant to section 46.2-15.741 of Virginia, Code of Virginia, which is known as the motor vehicle to with transaction recovery fund. The board's reviewed and considered claims for payment from the fund. The recommendations of the hearing officer for the claim. And whereas based on reconsideration and recommendation of the hearing officer, the board voted to, the committee voted to table this to a future date. And therefore be resolved that the board hereby reaffirms the table of the following claimant, Tim Jackson, with another $4,307.96. And the fraud payment will be the same for 300, something going on with that.
That is a formal motion. All right, can I have a second for that motion?
Second.
I'll recommend Jeff, Ballard is the second on that. All those in, any discussion, any other comments that folks want to make on that case?
I just wanted to add something really quick. I get that, code says that you have to have a broad limitation on the judgment. But, if an insurance company would pay the claim, I really don't see any reason why we should withhold at this. I think that referring this back to the courts, and this guy goes and gets an attorney, I have, this is a secret suspicion that it's gonna go from a $300 like $25,000. I could be wrong, but I just think it's like, we're opening ourselves up to have bigger plans. If we could put it to rest now instead of later, I think it makes sense, but that's just where I'm at.
Mr. Melinda, you want to add something?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, give some information that, I messaged during the recess, to the owner of DKT administration, Warren Company, to see if he had any information of this case. And he says that, there was a contract number on, BAP 000666402. He was voided with a tracking number, send it to the consumer and to the lien holder. Letting them know that there was no funds paid to them by the dealer, therefore they voided the contract. He says what this means is, unfortunately, it means that the dealer charged the customer full retail for this contract and they get.
There is evidence of a contract being in place for the two.
If that's not fraud, I don't know what it is. I mean, I know we don't have it. I just can't be more. I think that's pretty obvious.
Well, that's new evidence that we didn't have when we were discussing before. One of the issues that contention was that we didn't, there wasn't any evidence of the contract. It was just sort of his agreement for bill of sales. So yeah.
Do we actually have the evidence?
We have from the owner of DKP.
If we get a document, I think maybe.
We just got verbal confirmation from DKP.
I don't think we're here for trust and not trust. I think we're here to verify it.
Well, I mean, I do business with the guy for everything I do.
No.
But we get the documentation. If we make pass, if we do pass the resolution, it could be pending receipt of the document.
That's all, yeah.
The consumer will send a certified mail of the cancellation of the warranty. I'm sure they can provide that. Or people can afford it. Because they have the certified mail that they send to them or the cancellation of the warranty. I'm sure.
I think makes up. I think Ron maybe getting a little bit of extra information on there just like or.
That means the issue still becomes the finding of fraud. I'm a little bit confused too. Why would we pay the consumer? Isn't the lien holder one who's out on the field too?
The consumer owes Navy Federal Credit Union the money. And just like insurance companies pay my customers all the time for a car, I've got a lien on a fixed car and they don't put it in the pocket. There's no way to control that. No way to pay the warranty company. Well, the consumer could do that. But right now we have a claim to the consumer. I think going further, we're gonna be run down rabbit hole.
That's tough. We don't have a finding for fraud. That's tough. We've had a lot of tougher cases that we've been told to go back to finding fraud and we'll pay your money.
Sounds like this is what we said in the past. They got a fraud.
Yeah.
We can talk about it if they can't get it.
Yeah, I'm still in favor of table and figure it out if they can get a fraud.
Right.
Still in favor of the substitute motion.
Yeah.
They've got money, let's I agree.
Guys, we're creating a lot of rabbit holes.
I've been known to create rabbit.
Yeah, we're creating a lot of rabbit holes.
Let's vote.
I'll make a substitute motion that we pay the claim. I'll second it.
So there was a motion that it was tabled, nobody seconded that motion?
Yeah.
Oh, it was tabled,
Yeah.
it was seconded, and you have to vote on that motion.
Well, let's vote on the first motion to follow the original discussion we had at the committee, which was to table it. Only that, but no, if it
No,
doesn't
not
pass,
that.
if it doesn't pass,
You would have to pay.
so let's, given this close, let's do another roll call real quick on the motion to table this discussion and ask the council to go back and get a finding of fraud from the court,
Which will resolve the whole thing.
which will resolve the whole thing, and then if that passes, we won't take the second vote. If it's not passed, we'll take the second vote on the amendment. On the amended. Can you do a roll call for it? Yeah.
Jeff Mallard,
Yes.
Dan Bannister.
Good.
Tom Bates,
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Brenda Britt,
If I don't want to table it, I'll no.
Yes.
No.
Sarah Collins,
No.
Ron Cody,
Yes.
No.
Jeff Lloyd.
Yeah.
Rodney Robinson. Tom Sullivan,
No.
Andy Wiley. Bill Bass.
No.
Let me call him. Yes.
Not passed, so we vote on the second amendment, but you don't.
Yeah, I'll state it. I make a motion that we, pay the claim as stated. Second by Trevor Cool.
So let's take a vote on that. Let's do a roll call here.
Jeff Mallard.
No.
Dan Bannister.
No.
Tom Bates.
No.
Brenda Britt.
Yeah.
Sarah Collins. Yes. Ron Cody,
No.
Bruce Mayor,
Yes.
Jeff Lloyd,
No.
Rodney Robinson.
Yes.
Ron Sullivan,
Yes.
Andy Wiley,
Yes.
Bill Bass.
Yes. All right, we're at 6 yes, the motion carries, so we will pay $4,000 out of fund that transaction recovery fund.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Is there such a thing when we do that, to have a, no harm, like that it can't be relitigated again by some attorney that gets a hold of it, finds out that they did something and wants to go for more? No. Hold on.
I think if we pay the guy, I think he's all that. I just want to fix his transmission.
Hey, if we're gonna give them the money, why not just get a hold on?
I don't think it's our place to tell him what to do. How can we hold him from doing something?
Well,
If he was to do another.
That's
illegal, it's still.
Yeah, I don't think we can require any additional, I mean, we either, the decision by the board is either to pay it or not pay it, that's all the statute for it. I mean,
we can't just ask them if it's not,
But
not required him ask.
no, I mean, what I can say is he's gotten his judgment's final. You pay that judgment, there's no, if he comes back with another judgment for the board, he'd have to find new fraud. That issue's already been decided by the court.
I'm just trying to protect the board, it's just,
Yeah.
this is, you're crossing a line here, if it's never happened before, and I've heard everyone in the room but one say it's never happened before. I feel very uncomfortable about setting a precedent in this direction.
No,
What would prohibit him from going back to court and then getting a fraud judgment?
What's that?
Well, we just determined that
We just voted on it.
it's the same.
They can file another claim.
No, we can't. Or
Can't
they-
file one. Only file one claim.
If we file another claim with the $25,000 max still on file. Yeah, correct. 25,000
I mean,
per consumer, so.
I think we're going down the whole thing.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not necessary, because I mean, you'd have to prove an entirely new issue as to the judgment. Right or wrong.
So any other questions, any other comments?
That concludes our report for the transaction recovery fund. Our next meeting is, November 13th. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, moving on to some old business, William Webb.
Okay, tab 8. Mr. Mohammed Mahassel came for the board, and he was given 3 items. I guess it's saying this time with the board. He was able to meet 2 of those 3 items, but you see the tab 8, this doctor's excuse that says he's not able to sit for more than 2 or 3 hours at a time. He tested surgery, and surgery was an invasive surgery. And Mr. Mahassel, he's still an operator. He's not in his dealership. He's telling me that his people report to him every day about what they're doing. So he's following them through telephone conversation. And he's not accountable. Ride the car for a couple hours, go to partial body. And this is a first. So the board who want to put the departments in place, we have to send a 2-day bill operating plan. The board staff want the authority to change that. So I'm bringing this based on the board. You want you guys what you have with this. You want to stay with the body that you're detailed. You want to extend it. Again, this is precedent setting for us. That's the case in the nutshell.
I was going, because I asked Christian about this during break, and the concern that I have for the board to just say to this guy, tough, you need to take it, do on the 13th is that, you know, I think we have to provide some accommodation for the gentleman, at least in an effort to show that we're making an accommodation for the gentleman. We talked to Chris, possible that VIADA can offer a dealer operator course remotely for the right price. Chris volunteered Tommy to do that. And it's possible that this gentleman could recover in the next 90 days and come back into perfect class. And I think just to protect us from getting walloped, that my recommendation would be to extend it until the next board meeting at this point, and then have the board reach out to this gentleman, find out, is this like an ongoing thing? You're never gonna be able to do it. We need to come up with this other accommodation and come back at the next meeting. So, and I mean, my inclination, all that aside, is that like, look, if you can't attend the thing, it's required, you know, you're not gonna be able to be a dealer operator. But I think in the short term, we need to make the accommodation for the gentleman. So my recommendation would be to table it, to extend, not table it, to extend the requirement that he take the class until after the November 13th meeting. So do I need to pick a date for that? So after the November 13th meeting, and to direct the office to reach out to him for clarification in terms of what he can.
For a second for that. For a second, so all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carried. These are for.
No photo update. Okay, last meeting, we had a lively discussion about the bill portal along the lines of the expenses. At the conclusion of that particular meeting, the board itself outlined me and the commission along with Christian to be able to resolve their financial questions have. That question has been addressed. We have not moved forward with it. New development since then. But the issue, $25,000 issue that you were at questions about last time, that has been resolved. The vendor came back and said they agree with that, we'll fine with that. The issue since then was a data transfer and data recognition process that involves the DMV. Over what we do right now. DMV, that you didn't know what happened to the platform for they're not proceeding with platform change as they anticipated. And so we now need to sit down with the vendor and DMV and reconfigure the exchange of information so that it goes to DMV system and DMV can use it, upload it like they do. So while we have not made any significant progress, we've made some tremendous progress in terms of communication and setting up working days to resolve these data flow issues. So since last meeting, we've not paid any additional money. I think right now, we only have about 8,000 to pay for the contractors that fulfilled. But that's also not knowing what may come about because of this re-platform is not coming up to take place now. So as I get information, I'll let you know about it. Right now, moving along, now corporation with all three parties part, and after they say like that.
I don't think I caught all of that. It sounded, saying the company has only paid 80,000 so far out of how much?
No. We paid 265,000 so far.
Okay.
331.
80 left.
80 left.
So we have not paid money. Okay. And they have not taken responsibility for the fact that they thought somehow we only needed one paper dealer.
No, that's been resolved. That's all been resolved.
So they're gonna now do that. They're gonna get us more than one plate.
Yes, but the problem now is the DMV changed in their platform. But look at the whole thing again. So it was an issue last board meeting, it's not an issue now. We have a bigger issue in place right now. So out of this, though, we will get to go through the issue of a range of things. We will get that. That's part of it.
For the same original total price. Okay, good. Thank you.
Transaction recovery.
No, but it's not much. Mr. Bates asked a question last meeting about the flood. It should increase based off of the vehicle, the value of vehicle. And he asked us to bring some numbers back. Michael Bandit's going to assist me, but for the most part, Mr. Bates, and commend the board level. My recommendation would be that we do not increase the amount in the transaction cost. Over the past 10 years, I think we've had 51 cases coming forward. The average payout's been 16,000 plus. But at the same time, as you saw today, it's not perfect. We do, in my opinion, need to have the service contract portion entered as an item to be reimbursed to the customer to deal with our contract or contract. So I do think we need to look at the law and make it so that it's consistent. If the warranty, if the bond covers it, then the fund should also cover it. The bond's not in place. And right now we have a difference of that one item where the bond was covered and the recovery fund doesn't cover. And that may mean more cases coming before the board, but that is something though that is more prevalent. I hear more about those type of service contracts not being honored or issued that we think after this.
When was the 25,000 amount, the top amount, initiated? How long ago? Okay. You know what's happened to the prices of used cars since 2012 and new cars since 2012? Obviously, we all do, right? Okay, they've at least doubled. So my question would be, has anyone reached the 25,000?
We've had many questions.
Okay, so I'm saying for a legitimate customer, if we have this fund and we have $1 million in it or something, is that right?
$1.3 million somewhere around there.
If someone's cheated and deserves money, and we're not keeping up with inflation, I think we're doing injustice to the customer.
Mr. Bates, many of the claims that are made are cheaper vehicles. They've got legal fees just added on top of it. Huge. So we start throwing more money on the plate right now. And I'm not against what you're saying. You would talk about it as a group, but I think that what we're doing is giving those people more of a reason to start coming after us.
my suggestion, just to be complete, had to do with a maximum of an attorney fee. So if we maximize the attorney fee, I
don't think we can do that. I don't know.
well, if we, well, I don't know if it's legal, but we certainly can just say, get a list of attorneys that will do it for a reasonable price and not put it out there to the headhunters. I don't know what our parameters are, but for the good of the clients, which is why we're here, right? If they get burned for $50,000-$60,000 and an attorney wants 45,000 of it, I think if there's some way to get it so that we can get them for $5,000 max or whatever, there's something reasonable, because all they do is file a motion and they get a yes or no. We just like,
after it.
what?
I think they would go after, it. You sell somebody a car for 50,000-60,000.
Use Tahoes, use anything that's premium. I mean, these cars are, you know, a new Corvette, you buy a new Corvette for 95,000, they resell them for 160,000. So 25 grand is peanuts today, frankly. So if we're watching out for the consumers, I think it's only fair to look at the number. Now, your point is valid. That's why I asked about the attorney. I don't want to enrich.
That's what you'd be doing, because most of the claims I see and have seen for the past many years have all been under that threshold, and the big fluff over that.
No, I get that. So if we can maybe look at, if we can make it for the customer and not 50-50, because some of these people go out and they say, sure, I'll take it for free, 50-50. We could get a list of attorneys, good attorneys. I mean, there's plenty of good attorneys. Aren't there? I know one for sure right here. So if we're looking out for the customer, I think we at least owe them a look to see what we can do. And if someone's willing to attorneys, give a list of 10 attorneys, we'll do $5 grand or something.
Well, I'm just gonna say, you can't recommend attorney. Exactly. Definitely agree.
If there's a method to do it, let's not tell me how, if there's some way to do it.
There's no method. There's no method that this board can recommend a panel of attorneys, and any citizen of the state of Virginia, any state.
Take any words out of my mouth except, is there a way to help an innocent consumer and protect them from a headhunter attorney, so we don't pay the attorney an unduly fee? That's my question.
Not us personally, that would be the individual who decides to hire that. That's their.
It's the same four attorneys that come back and forth all the
I,
time.
that's why I'm asking, do we have the power to?
But the,
Okay.
I mean, you're asking the question, we don't have the power to do anything with anyone's choosing of the account.
Okay. You understand my question? My question is, consumers are gonna get burned unfairly. We're here to protect them. I'm asking, is there a vehicle of financial means or legal means for us to be able to do that?
The only thing you,
Yeah.
I don't think you're asking this question, but if you were to say that the attorney's fee section of the code does not have a cap on attorney fees, if you're looking for legislative changes, there's you'd have to have a legislative, right now, there's no cap on attorney fees.
So we can do that.
You can seek legislative change.
Sure.
Right.
Why wouldn't we?
I can't recommend whether you do or you don't. I mean, that's just you're right. You'd have to take it out of hand on it.
Chairman?
Yes.
Ann Gabriella with the Virginia Auto Dealers Association. We worked on legislation a number of years ago that put some parameters around the issue of attorney's fees. Either the claimant has to show that the court awarded the attorney's fees, and correct me if I get any of this wrong, yeah, with an affidavit and file it. If the court was not, if the court award does not award those fees, then the board does have the right to review them and only pay that amount that the board deems is compensable
There you go.
because it was to the compensable part of the claim. So we have tried to put in statute some guardrails on the attorney's fees recovery that have worked. Now some of the claims bar have gotten very good about putting those affidavits in, and quite frankly, the judge is probably just gonna sign it. So yeah, this is justified if the attorney does not do that, but it at least makes them aware we're working.
The statute outlines how the attorney fees are to be reduced. There's no limit on those attorney fees.
It's not
If they follow those guidelines, a judge can award anywhere.
So
Zero
with
to
EA
$1 million.
available to help car dealers, which I happen to know they do a great job, then maybe we could get some legislation again. You think they would have a chance?
I'm not familiar with how the code addresses that in other circumstances. I suspect that it'd be hard to.
I think that would be that'd be difficult, because again, we'd be limiting what attorneys can
Yeah, I don't
do
know.
as a business standpoint. I mean, there are cases that can take an enormous amount of time, and there, it's not, you also may, if you're concerned about the consumer, that always, the board has always looked at it as well, at least I know from the past, that you may also then be, the attorneys may not be willing to take cases, perhaps, given that there is a limit on a fee that's not up, and we'll see more individuals out of the people who tackle this by themselves. So,
Well, we understand the question I'm asking. It's a good question for the consumer. Maybe someone can tell for this one.
So we could motion to send this to committee and have the folks look into it again before the next session in November. So I'll make that motion. Does somebody want to second it?
I second it.
All those in favor of moving this to committee for discussion, say yay.
Yeah.
All those opposed? All right. I'm saying
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I thought I was done. Now, the chairman wants us to talk about it all. Yes, I want to talk about it all. All right, so the next order of business then, some association updates from the ADA.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Gabriella for the Virginia Auto Dealer Association. We don't have anything specific to offer. We'd be glad to do a little research on sort of intrigue now to see if that limitation on attorney's fees exists anywhere else in the code, just to give us an idea of whether that could be done. So we'll be glad to help with that.
Well, and it is worth kind of discussing the legislative session coming up in a couple months. I mean, now is the time if there's any reason we want to tweak that, with more discretion or clarify what we need money for. I'm looking to have a problem. We did bring it up because we want to say, well, cars are going up. But I don't think we have a problem. Based on what William brought back to the table, we really don't have a problem.
Again, if we're looking out for the consumers, the cost of these vehicles has at least doubled. We all know that.
And if I had a list of consumers that were taking it because we didn't give them enough money, I'd tell you, don't.
Well, I don't think that's the point.
Thank you, Pam. DIADA, Alvin or Malo.
Alvin Melendez, Executive Director of the Virginia Independent Auto Dealers Association. Thank you very much. First I want to say, thank you so much for the communication with the DMV and the association. As far as I'm sure the Nuclear Association has the same, but we never had this in the past, this communication between the agency and the association, where you have your assistant commissioner reach out to me, different people in your office reach out to me this week and ask about different subjects and things that the DMV is going through. And this is just a great relationship where we can, let you know how we feel from the dealer perspective, from the association perspective, and then you're able to tell us from the DMV perspective and come to the best solution on how to, move forward in different topics. And it's a great relationship. We really appreciate it. In observance of the transactional recovery fund, I noticed Alice said it was 65. I noticed 75. Okay, so I just want to make sure. Okay. Other than that, I don't have anything else to discuss. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And thank you for the kind words. Nice to have them on there.
I'd just like to say when I was asking about the paperwork, there's nothing. Okay. I thought Chris was throwing an arrow at me. I was gonna say, everybody do a great job. I'm glad to have you aboard.
All right. Is there any old business on the floor? All right, any new business? Yes.
I noticed that we never talk about franchise law. And there's a section in here about franchise law. And I would love to have an inquiry into, and I'll just be quick and specific. Tesla years ago was able to start some franchise, some customer dealerships supposedly under a previous commissioner before you that many people think was wrong. And it opened the door for these companies, the Teslas, the Carvanas, the who knows what's next, the IA and all this. They don't have customer people. If anyone knows a Tesla company, salesman will go in, they'll sell 120 cars, and they get 60 grand a year salary. Then it goes to someone else. There's no truth in lending. The advertising doesn't have to be under the same rules. They don't have service departments. They don't have body shops. They don't have real people in the community that really care about the customer. And I think Elon Musk is terrific. I have some of the stock, but they're not going to talk to the owner of the company if it's an issue. And part of the 65,000 based auto dealers in Virginia, the reason that we've been successful is they're community people. You know, he knows who's in his community. I know who's in mine. He knows who, we know the people. We involve ourselves in the charity. We involve ourselves in the school. Some of the factories, Subaru, Chevrolet, Nissan, they help the community with ball games of all parts. It's very, very consumer oriented. And Tesla is a good stock company, but they're not out for the consumer. And so before there's more of these things that get through the screening mechanism, which I think failed miserably, I would like to look at how a company like Tesla, or if that's in stone, fine, but no more companies can get to be dealers without really passing the litmus test for being a franchise dealer legally in Virginia, which is plenty of law and plenty of statute, of which Tesla does not really apply. They won the case simply by saying they could handle a customer better than a new car franchise dealer now. We have several new car dealer franchise people in here, and I think they would also mirror with me, maybe not, that that's hogwash. So
Even if they could, what difference does it make? It's not the standard of what's said in court.
absolutely, but I'm saying that what it came down to was and I don't want to get too heavy on this, but before you, it was said by the commissioner who overruled the court, in his opinion, that Tesla, I could be, I'm not summarizing this, said Tesla could handle the customers better than the franchise dealers. We tried to get people that were dealership people to buy in and said, we'll volunteer, we'll build a building, we'll do this, we'll do that. And it's kind of a mockery of the law and the statute of Virginia. Now, I'm not saying it's a massive problem right now, but if you look on the ranks of new car dealers, it's like 400. Help me out. How many total new car dealer franchises are there? 400 or so. Tesla's number 1 and number 3. Almost all the time. Almost all the time. And it's electronic. These people are having issues. And I know people in Virginia Beach, when they have body work, they call me and say, hey, can we do your stuff at RK? We're certified through State Farm and Nationwide, one of the top dealers. So
I hear your point, nothing I'm deeply familiar with the topic. We're actually doing a study right now that's directed by the General Assembly on the approval process for Tesla. So I'm more than interested in looking.
well, and my point is, do
We have a lot of
more franchise law, is this just DMV or do we bring it up here? Or, I don't know the mechanism.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
matter, but you know, in terms of it sits under my code section, in terms of what I legislate. So when the dealers do have problems, you guys know your franchise dealers that come. Now obviously I have a lot of people that actually don't.
No, I know.
If we wanna make a motion to look at franchise law, and I don't know if we don't that, let's just take a.
The other board, we historically don't deal with franchise.
Yeah,
law.
I would just say
it's a
from
request from me.
from the code, it's the dealer manufacturer, the DMV issue.
That's DMV, not us.
Is it-
Honestly, would be our purview, it has franchise law section. I'm asking because I don't know. Why do we have it if we don't use it? And if we can use it, I want to do it appropriately. I don't want to step over any of that. So I just like the path of how to get this right. Now, I know senators and delegates that would be happy to do something about this. And their first thing is say, go to the dealer board. And I hear from the dealer board, William has told me basically it's not in our purview exactly, and I just don't, I'm ignorant to the process. So I'd like to be educated, not irritating somebody.
You know, we'll talk offline. Like I said, I'm very interested in multiple aspects of it. So if it's mentioned somewhere in motor vehicle vehicle board bylaws and whatnot, we'll figure that out. And we'll clarify the difference in responsibility.
Because once, just finally, when and if these things start going defunct, like Carvana went from $250 a share to free, they just collapse, just like this lady that had the warranty company collapsed and the dealer lied up. That's gonna happen to a lot of our people, and we're here to protect people. And 65,000 people that work in Virginia. So, thank you for listening.
Any other new business? From the board? All right, our next meeting is gonna be on, November 13th, here in this room. Executive director report and decisions.
Yes. There are no executive director decisions from the last board meeting. And I do not have to report for you this time. I think we had a lot of discussion today about a lot of different topics that they're very interesting. And I leave it there.
I do too. It was more lively than my first one. I appreciate everybody, but there being no further business above for the board, I'm going to adjourn us until November.
Thank you.
All for 12 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.